Love does not respond to pursuit. It responds to alignment. The more you chase, the further it seems, yet the moment you rest in certainty, it moves toward you. What you seek is not delayed. It is already arranged. There comes a point in life where running after love becomes exhausting. Not because love is difficult, but because chasing was never the way it was meant to arrive. Love is not a prize you hunt down, persuade, or earn through over-effort. It is an experience that unfolds naturally when your inner state matches the reality you desire. When you stop chasing love, you are not giving up. You are stepping into alignment. And in alignment, things move effortlessly toward you. Chasing love places you in a position of lack. It silently declares, I don't have this yet, and life simply reflects that assumption back to you. Every unanswered message, every delayed commitment, every mixed signal becomes proof of absence, because absence is the story you are unconsciously telling. Love is deeply sensitive to self-concept. It mirrors how you see yourself, not how intensely you try. The truth is subtle, but powerful. Love cannot be forced, but it can be allowed. And allowance begins the moment you stop proving your worth and start knowing it. The moment you no longer seek validation from another person is the moment your presence becomes magnetic. People feel when you are centered, complete, and certain within yourself. And that feeling draws commitment far more than pursuit ever could. A proposal, in its truest sense, is not just a ring or a question. It is a decision. A decision forms first in consciousness before it ever becomes visible. Long before words are spoken, alignment is set. Long before a future is promised, it is assumed internally. If you are constantly wondering whether someone will choose you, you are living in uncertainty. But when you quietly assume that you are already chosen, life reorganizes to confirm that belief. Love does not come from convincing someone to stay. It comes from embodying the version of yourself that no longer fears being left. The energy of calm certainty speaks louder than emotional urgency. When you stop chasing, your energy changes from need to knowing, from tension to peace. And peace is incredibly attractive. It signals safety, confidence, and emotional maturity. Many people confuse effort with value. They believe that if love doesn't require struggle, it must not be real. But the opposite is true. Real alignment feels natural. It feels steady. It feels calm. When something is meant to grow with you, it does not demand that you abandon yourself to keep it alive. Love that belongs in your life meets you where you are whole, not where you are depleted. Stopping the chase does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means becoming grounded. It means responding rather than reacting. It means allowing silence to exist without panic and space without fear. When you stop monitoring every interaction, you give love room to breathe. And in that space, commitment forms naturally. Your inner conversations matter more than your outer actions. If in your mind, you are already secure, already valued, already chosen, then your behavior effortlessly aligns with that truth. You stop over-explaining. You stop settling for uncertainty. You stop negotiating your standards. And the world responds, not because you demanded it, but because you expected it. The greatest shift happens when you stop asking, will they choose me, and start living from the quiet assumption, of course I am chosen. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. Confidence without desperation. Faith without force. When this state becomes natural, relationships either rise to meet you or gently fall away, making space for what truly belongs. Love responds to identity. When you identify as someone who is worthy of devotion, devotion appears. When you identify as someone who is secure in love, love stabilizes around you. The proposal you desire is not waiting on time, chance, or circumstances. It is waiting on congruence between who you are being and what you are expecting. Let go of the idea that love must be chased to be kept. Anything that requires constant pursuit is already slipping away. Real love moves toward you willingly. It chooses you without pressure. It commits without ultimatums. And it does so when you are no longer trying to control the outcome, but trusting the alignment. When you stop chasing love, you start attracting clarity. You stop tolerating half promises and emotional confusion. You recognize that indecision is a decision, and you no longer accept it as love. Your standards rise naturally, not from fear, but from self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of lasting commitment. A proposal aligned does not arrive with chaos. It arrives with calm certainty. It feels inevitable, rather than surprising, natural rather than dramatic. It flows into your life as a continuation of who you already are, not as something you must struggle to hold on to. That is how aligned love feels. Simple, steady, and deeply affirming. Trust that what is meant for you does not need to be chased. Trust that when your inner world is settled, your outer world follows. Trust that love recognizes alignment instantly. The moment you stop running after it is the moment it starts walking toward you. Release the urge to hurry love. Release the fear that letting go means losing. Often, letting go is what allows things to finally arrive. When you stop grasping, you open your hands, and what belongs to you finds its way there naturally. You are not behind, you are not late, you are not overlooked. Love is not avoiding you, it is aligning with you. The proposal you desire is already forming in the unseen, responding to your assumptions, your self-concept, your inner certainty. Step into that certainty now. Stop chasing love. Stand still in self-worth. What is aligned does not miss you. Chasing love always creates tension, because it places your happiness in the hands of something you believe is missing. The mind that pursues is silently announcing absence, and life responds faithfully to that belief. Calm certainty, however, speaks a different language. It says, I am already complete, already valued, already enough. From that inner stillness, attraction is born naturally. People feel drawn to those who are not pulling, demanding, or proving. Certainty carries an invisible authority. When you no longer rush love, question its arrival, or monitor its progress, you shift into a state where love recognizes you. It no longer feels like you are trying to be chosen. Instead, you feel grounded in the knowing that choosing is inevitable. This calm state removes pressure from interactions and replaces it with ease. Love moves freely toward those who are not chasing outcomes but resting in expectation. Effort fades, struggle dissolves, and what once felt distant begins to approach without resistance. How others treat you is never separate from how you view yourself internally. The world does not respond to words or wishes alone. It responds to identity. When you see yourself as someone who must convince, impress, or wait anxiously, relationships reflect hesitation and delay. But when you quietly hold the self-image of someone who is naturally chosen, valued, and prioritized, that assumption begins shaping behavior around you. People sense self-concept without explanation. It is carried in posture, tone, patience, and boundaries. Love commits where it feels certainty, not confusion. The moment you redefine yourself internally, from someone hoping for love to someone who expects it, your interactions change effortlessly. You stop accepting unclear energy, half-efforts, and emotional ambiguity. This isn't force, it's alignment. Commitment flows toward those who already believe they deserve it. When self-concept shifts, circumstances rearrange. You are no longer waiting to be selected. You are living as someone who already is. Love does not answer struggle. It responds to assumption. Outer effort often tries to compensate for inner doubt. But effort without belief only magnifies waiting. When you assume something to be true internally, reality adjusts without struggle. Love begins within imagination, not conversation. The way you talk to yourself, the expectations you replay, and the future you silently accept become instructions to life. When effort replaces faith, resistance appears. But when effort dissolves into knowing, events align smoothly. Assuming love is already secured creates emotional steadiness. You stop checking, questioning, or overreacting. This inner stability removes urgency from your actions and replaces it with quiet confidence. You move differently, speak differently, and respond calmly. Love mirrors that composure. What you assume daily hardens into fact, not because you chase it, but because you no longer doubt it. Effort may move people temporarily, but assumption moves reality permanently. Seeking proof keeps the mind trapped in waiting. The moment you look for signs, You confess uncertainty. Knowing, however, does not search. It rests. When you live in knowing, you are no longer disturbed by silence, time, or temporary distance. You understand that movement is happening beyond what your senses can track. Proof is the language of fear. Knowing is the language of alignment. When you stop scanning behavior for reassurance, your energy settles. That inner peace changes how situations unfold. You become less reactive, less emotional, and more centered. Life responds faster when you are no longer questioning it. Love shows itself clearly when you stop demanding confirmation and start living from certainty. Knowing removes desperation and replaces it with trust. From that trust, communication improves, decisions strengthen, and commitment emerges. What once felt unclear becomes obvious, not because you pushed for clarity, but because you allowed certainty to stabilize within. Aligned love carries a sense of ease that feels almost ordinary. There is no constant anxiety, no emotional roller coaster, no fear of saying the wrong thing. Peace becomes the dominant emotion, not excitement mixed with fear. When love is aligned, it does not drain your energy, it restores it. Anxiety signals attachment to outcome rather than alignment with truth. When you feel calm, grounded, and secure, you are positioned correctly. Peace is not boredom, it is stability. It allows love to deepen without pressure. Relationships rooted in anxiety survive on reassurance, but relationships rooted in peace grow through trust. When you release fear, you stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally. Love recognizes this maturity and meets it. Aligned love does not require you to shrink, beg, or overextend. It feels safe, mutual, and natural. Peace is the evidence that you are no longer chasing but allowing. Every major commitment begins as an internal decision before it ever becomes visible. Long before words are spoken or actions taken, the outcome is accepted inwardly. When you assume commitment as natural, your behavior aligns effortlessly. You no longer question timelines or compare progress. Instead, you move with quiet confidence. This inner decision removes emotional instability and replaces it with consistency. When commitment is assumed internally, conversations become relaxed, boundaries become clear, and energy becomes steady. Life mirrors inner decisions faithfully. When uncertainty exists inside, it appears outside as delays or mixed signals. When certainty exists within, reality reorganizes to match it. Decisions held calmly within consciousness must eventually express themselves physically. The key is remaining faithful to that inner decision without forcing its appearance. The proposal, the commitment, the confirmation all emerge naturally once the inner choice is complete. Control is often mistaken for care, but control blocks alignment. Trying to manage outcomes creates resistance because it implies distrust. Letting go does not mean indifference. It means confidence. When you release the need to dictate how and when love should appear, you create space for it to arrive effortlessly. Certainty does not require supervision. Trust removes tension from the process. When you stop forcing conversations, timing, or responses, you allow natural movement. This surrender is not weakness. It is mastery. You trust yourself, your worth, and the unfolding of events. Certainty strengthens when you step back emotionally and remain grounded internally. Love finds you when you are no longer gripping outcomes, but standing firm in expectation. What is meant for you does not need chasing, manipulation, or pressure. It arrives when resistance leaves and alignment remains.